com. Joining us now, State Senator Chap Petersen. Chap, great to have you with us. Chap, Happy New Year to you also, and to your lovely family, your wife. Now you guys got a bunch of kids getting older, right? Every year that goes by, they get a little bit older. You still got one in a couple of them though in high school, right?
Yeah, I've got my oldest is a junior, third year, whatever they called it, the University of Virginia. My second is a senior at Fairfax High School. Then I've got a freshman at Fairfax High School, and then I got a baby who's just in third grade.
Oh, you got the little one in the third.
Got the caboose baby.
Oh, that's going to be good. And well, it's always good to be high school. So one of them plays football, right?
Yeah, my son Thomas played football for Fairfax, and he's wrestling now, and he's doing well. He's on the JV team, but he's doing well. Hopefully he'll play varsity next year. And good kid, good athlete, and better athlete than his dad was.
Well, talking about athletics, I know you're very proud of your family. Let's go to the Washington Redskins. I have had numerous people very close to the Redskins tell me that Chap Petersen is on the short list for Redskins president.
Well, you know, John, I usually don't talk about my personal future on media shows. It's y'all got more important stuff to talk about. I'll just say that I've been a Redskins supporter all my life, and I'm obviously a season ticket holder, and I've sort of worked with the team on various things, informal things. And you know, I was friends with Bruce, and I was obviously he got fired, and that was tough. But you know, the bottom line is I'm here in whatever capacity the team needs me. I hope I can be helpful, and if that's a professional position, then that's something I'd consider. But that's all I can say right now.
I know you can't comment on it, but I can. Look, I'm so excited about this, and as you know, I'm not a Redskins fan. I'm a Titans fan, but I'm not a Redskins hater. But I like to see them win because being in D.C., I always call it the honking factor. When the Redskins win that Monday, everybody's happy. There's a spring in their step.
Yeah.
Nobody cuts anybody off. The honking goes way down. You order a cup of coffee at the Dunkin' Donuts. They fill it up to the top with a smile. They lose. On Monday, everybody's pissed off. They're honking at you. They're giving you the New Jersey salute. They throw the cup of coffee at you. I just want them to win. I can't think. Look, you've been with me. You're one of our founding sponsors. We've been friends for a long time. You come on my show a lot, talk about the Redskins, the Nationals, and other things. I cannot think of a better choice for that position because I really think what they need is they need a business guy like yourself. Obviously, you're a great defense attorney also, so you know the law. But I think you would bring hope and enthusiasm to a really downtrodden franchise, and you know all the nonsense that goes on there, the drama. I think you would go a long way in selling the fan base a bright future with them. And if what I'm saying is accurate, I really hope that works out for you. Besides, I think you'd be great at it.
Well, first of all, thank you, John. You know, here's something. If I was to ever be in a position like that, the first thing I would do is at every home game, I'd be in a parking lot, shaking hands with fans, going to tailgates, meeting people, meeting the customers. You know, for me, I wouldn't worry about the on-field product as per se. I think you hire the top football guys to do that. Your job is to be out meeting your customers and doing that 24/7. If you got to stand at the gate of Redskins Park and shake people's hands on the way into practice, or stand at the gate of FedEx Field and shake people's hand on the way into the game, you want people to talk to you. You want to be talking to the fans 100%. You know, teams, you know, they go up and down on the field. Mm-hmm. What's concerning to me about the Redskins is their fan base has eroded substantially in the last 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. And we all see that. And part of that's the team's been unsuccessful on the field, but part of it is for whatever reason they lost their identity. And that's something they need to recapture. And you're 100% correct. Let me tell you something. There's been more enthusiasm in the D.C. area in the past 72 hours than I've seen in the last almost since Obama was elected. I'm not exaggerating. People love the Redskins. People like me who grew up here, there's nothing like it. It goes to the core of our DNA in this area. People like Sonny Jurgensen, God, you name the names, John Riggins, Joe
Billy
Theismann,
Kilmer,
Darryl Green,
Houston,
Kenny Houston,
Over the
Darryl
Hill
Green,
Gang,
Art Monk,
Jack Pardee,
Sean Taylor, Chris Cooley. These are legends. These are names that they walk into any restaurant in the D.C. area, they're not paying for their dinner.
The Hogs.
And there's no other comparison. And we need to get that back. We need to get Redskins fans back in the stadium. We need to get them, back in the seats. We need to take back over. We need to take back our house. And again, if I could play a role in that, great. Right now I'm focused on the Senate, my Senate tenure, and I'm excited for that. And I know we're going to talk about that, but I will tell you, I believe the Redskins have a positive role in this community. It brings people together across racial, ethnic, political lines, and that's an important institution, and it shouldn't go away.
Well, look, the Redskins fan, the whole product, and I get the field thing, and obviously if you were in that position, you'd have to hire the right personnel guys. I think you do that. But there is a declination of Redskins enthusiasm in their fan base. And, part of it, which you can't solve, is FedEx Field is tough to get to. When you were at RFK, there was that identity there. It was downtown. You'd take the bus or the metro or walk. It was just different. So you got to fight that. But if you put a good product on the field, you take care of your fans, I think really have an opportunity to turn this franchise around. Because right now, you're right. The fan base is eroding, and there's not a lot of enthusiasm. But Ron Rivera, great. I think that was a masterful choice. Best decision Schneider's made. That guy's tough, and he's a winner. And he's no winner, nonsense. Yeah. And that's what you need. No nonsense. A guy's no nonsense. And then you bring in a defensive coordinator who's equally no nonsense than Jack Del Rio. He doesn't put up with any crap from anybody. So you got two tough guys in there.
No. I agree. I think the knock on the team, I'm not saying it's soft, but the criticism has been that the team has been soft. I'm not saying that's accurate. I'm just saying that just seems to be the perception, from what I can tell around the league and in the community, is that the team was just not tough enough, and they weren't tough enough to win close games. And they have a lot of kids, a lot of players out there that are talented, or first round picks and high round picks, and that's not an issue. I think it's just they need someone who's a leader of men. And it's a throwback. It's a sort of an archaic concept, perhaps, but they need that leader. I think Ron Rivera is that leader. We'll find out, but I'm excited. And hey, I'm a season ticket holder, so that you want me to be excited. So I can't wait. I cannot wait.
If you were to get this job, and I know you're not even saying you're in the running, so this is all John Fredericks' conjecture. Let's be clear. Chap has said nothing about it. He's certainly not denied it, but he's not talking about it. But if you were to get this job, would you have to resign from the state Senate?
That's right now. I'm just focused on the session, and
good answer. Okay.
Anything that happens after the session within my personal or business life, that's something I'll deal with at that time. And all
right, I got it.
I'll just leave it at that, John. We can talk offline. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll talk offline, and I appreciate your engagement. All right, let's get to Chap Petersen, State Senator. Wow, this is going to be quite the session, Chap. Let's start with Dick Saslaw's gun bill. Was it SB 16 or something, where they want to confiscate guns, take away, if you have a round over 10 clips, you're a jailbird. You have a certain automatic handgun, they're going to take that away. If you don't give it up, handcuffs. We got all these sanctuary cities going down. The VCDL is going to have a rally on Monday, January 20th. They expect 100,000 people, biggest ever. You ran as a pro-gun Democrat against Jean Marie Devilites Davis, then Senator Jean Marie Devilites, the Republican, who got Bloomberg to come in and campaign for you. Still beat her. Where are you going to go now?
Well, John, I think that the short answer is there's going to be a lot of legislation coming down the pike. I ran in 2007. The issue specifically was the right of concealed carry permit holders, which I've supported right down the line, throughout my career. I think there are issues where we can change our laws to be more effective. I do support one gun a month. I don't back away from that. I do think that we can, on background checks, all commercial sales ought to be subject to a background check. I've said that, and I voted for that. I haven't looked at Saslaw's bill. Obviously, I've gotten 10,000 emails on it, and I'm not going to vote for what I call status crimes, which are people that have a particular status by definition become criminals. And if people purchase something that was legal at the time, we're not going to criminalize it and suddenly turn them into criminals overnight. I'm not going to vote for that. If we're going to restrict sale on high-capacity magazines, and I know we talked about silencers months ago, I have no problem with that, and I would vote for that. We talked about some particular bills, but again, that to me would be a prospective measure about people that are purchasing things prospectively. I don't think you can reasonably, and again, unless someone wants to come in and show me how this can be done, pass a law that's going to criminalize people for doing something they did that was legal. And then, again, we don't have the ability to know who's up to date with the law and who's not, and the definition of a semi-automatic weapon obviously is fairly amorphous. We all know that. The bottom line is we need to fix laws prospectively, and we need to make Virginia a safer state without threatening the rights of people that are, exercising their constitutional rights. I get all that, and it's a balancing act. And look, I understand there's a lot of gun owners that are very concerned, and that's part of democracy, just like, there's a lot of people that are very concerned about the gun violence and school shootings, and each side has very strong opinions. And again, I lean towards the side that we can do more to protect our kids. We can do more to protect society without threatening the rights of people that use Second Amendment legally. And, we're going to have to find a balance. We're not going to rush through it. I haven't read any individual piece of legislation yet. That's going to change in about 72 hours. But from what you describe, I think that bill is probably a little bit overbroad. I'm assuming there's going to be more targeted legislation. And I think for Democrats, what we need to do is figure out what are our top priorities. And if there's bills that are filed that sort of cover a whole number of ideas and have a number of unintended consequences, that's going to be a mistake. And it's going to touch off a reaction to our majority, which is not going to be healthy. We need to figure out what our priorities are and focus on those.
Yeah, but you can't stop what they're doing in the House, Chap. I mean, that's really the issue.
Well, I do. Believe me, those House bills don't automatically become law. They may think they do, but they don't.
Well,
so they may pass them in the House, and it's going to come to the Senate, and we'll take a second look.
All right, so let's get to a couple others. I know you're a pro-business guy. Right to work.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You stand with it?
We'll see what comes along. I don't see a right to work repeal being filed in the Senate. I think that we'll see, what comes out of the House. As for me, I do consider myself a pro-labor guy, and I understand the concerns with right to work. Having said that, it's been part of our business framework for, 60-some years. And, we'll see what comes out of the House. I at this point, don't see a Senate bill being filed. So we'll tackle that when we get to it.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network live in your Capitol studios in Richmond. We're with Chap Petersen, state senator, Democrat, pro-business guy. Never really can predict what he's going to do. Let's get to a couple other issues. Redistricting. Boy, this is a tough one for a lot of people. You guys voted in the Senate for this 39-1.
Right.
The House voted 85-13 or something. One Republican voted no. That's Lee Ware. The only reason Lee Ware voted no is he loves the district he's in because he's there for life. So he votes no. Whatever, Lee. But right now, I don't think this thing gets out of rules. I think it's going to get squashed because now you have the power. Isn't that hypocritical?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next question.
Okay, thank you. I love the brevity.
Yeah.
It's got to get out of rules. I mean, that's the thing.
It's got to get out of rules. Let me elaborate a little bit. First of all, I believe in nonpartisan redistricting reform. And by the way, if that meant the 34th Senate District got assigned to Loudoun County, then I'd wave goodbye and go back to whatever I do. So at some point, you just got to live with the consequences of your choices. And I think it's tough for people because you may be voting for a bill that could be your own death sentence, and politically, that is not realistically, but. I just feel like it's the right thing to do. I mean, we've been pushing this issue for a decade. Now we've got the majorities, and I think it's one where you can go to the voters and say, you know what, I did something that wasn't in my self-interest. I did something that, I'm taking a leap of faith that voters can make a choice. It sets up a process. It sets up a nonpartisan commission. Would I have done it differently? Yeah, I would have. I wouldn't have had any legislative reps. And I understand the Supreme Court's kind of like the backstop, and some people have concerns about the Supreme Court. I don't. I mean, the Supreme Court makes all kinds of tough decisions. This is just one of them. So, at the end of the day, I think you either got to say, are we going to do this or are we not going to do this? If you're not going to do this and you've been consistent, then don't change your mind now. But like you said, John, I mean, everybody voted for this last year.
Yeah.
And so I hope we stick with it. I really do, and I'm going to be out front, and I will support it.
Well, there was a great editorial yesterday in WAPO, as I'm sure you've seen, saying that if you vote no and you voted yes, that's like the height of hypocrisy. But, they a lot of these House Democrats feel now, look, they've been squashed for a long time. Now they have the power, and they want to be able to wield it. But I think it would be the height of hypocrisy, and hopefully that'll pass. All right, look, can I got two more issues, but can I sing your praises about one of your bills? May I?
Sure, which one?
That's gambling, that's bookmaking gambling, and you want brick and mortar. And I am such a supporter of that, because if you understand the gambling industry, look, you're going to get it in Virginia, but your bill says you have to have brick and mortar. Now, maybe you go to online after that, but see, without brick and mortar, there's no jobs, Chap. It creates no jobs. If you simply go DraftKings or this one or that one online, somebody starts it, whatever, you create zero jobs in Virginia. If you go brick and mortar, you got to hire people. You got to pay rent. You got to buy something. You got to install the machines. You got to have the workers. You got to have those that counting the money in the back. You create jobs. You do it online only, you create zero jobs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. To me, when I saw the sports making, the bookmaking idea, to me it's an issue of economic rejuvenation.
Yes.
It's looking at cities like Danville or Norfolk or places where we're trying to bring people downtown. We're trying to get people to socialize. We're trying to get them out and, like you said, create jobs, but also create some excitement, create some entertainment. And I'm not interested in somebody, sitting in their basement, fiddling around on the phone. That to me, I understand there's revenue there. I understand that's the new economy. But to me, I want to have bricks and mortar. I want to have people actually interacting. It's the whole social factor, the entertainment factor. That was the focus of my bill. I will put in some variation of it back again. As far as whether or not the lottery controls it or it's, privately controlled, I've got sort of my own thoughts on that. But the bottom line is we need to have, if we're going to do this, and some people might say, let's just not do it, period. But I think sports, bookmaking is a good idea, and it's a chance to kind of capture some excitement from our local sports teams. And I do think if you're going to do it, have bricks and mortar, bring people in, create the jobs, and
jobs. And then
spin off some extra revenue.
Right, and then if you want to have them based online, if you look at the New Jersey model, Chris Christie's model, they figured it out. You have to have brick and mortar. And then if it's, let's say, MGM or Harrah's, whatever it is, has it, they open up a shop, then they can go and they can partner with an online company. But the baseline has to be brick and mortar. You have to go into a place jobs are created. So I'm for that. Okay, final thing, and I got to go.
Yep.
Legalization, marijuana. I was for it. I was tell this story. You took me to dinner in Fairfax. You laid it out for an hour and a half. You convinced me 100% to go the other way. But now you're in the minority.
I realize that, and by the way, when I say legalization, I'm opposed to legalization of marijuana. I don't think the government ought to be in the business of buying and selling a narcotic. I realize that may be a fuddy-duddy opinion, but that is where I stand, and I've got lots of reasons for saying that. As far as sort of the decriminalization side of it, I don't have a problem with that. And to be honest, marijuana has been de facto decriminalized for years. I mean, first offense possession of marijuana has basically been a sort of a automatic deferral with no points and no criminal record, and that's been that way for years now. So it's effectively been decriminalized. But I think I just look at the opioid issues and all the people that have become addicted, and people that say that marijuana is not addictive. Sorry. I've been to parents groups of people that have children that have been drug addicted. They all pretty much all started by smoking pot. And so, look, I understand I'm probably in the minority, and I'm 51 years old, and I've got kids that may not agree with me. But as long as I'm the senator, I'm going to do what I think is right. And in my opinion, I'm not going to vote for legalization. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm still with you. Speaking of 51, I'm 61.
Oh my God! Okay.
I saw a movie last night with Ann. What was it called, Ann? Uncut Gems. And there was a lot of bad language in it, and there was some racy scenes. And I walked out of it, and I said, look, I just got to get out for 15 minutes. And I ended up going back before the ending. But I'm realizing my age, like I just don't want to be exposed to that anymore. I guess I'm getting older. But look, I'm still with you on marijuana. And but I think we're a dinosaur. Chap, I'm out of time. I want to thank Chap Petersen.
John, it's great to talk to you. Have a great new year. I'll see you in Richmond.
All right, I'll see you the next day. Hey, Chap, one final question.
Yes, sir.
Ben Tribbitt's show. What do you think?
I can't wait. Do I have to be an advertiser for that?
Yes.
Oh, God. All right. Okay. I can't wait. Look, I think having Joe have a show, Joe Morrissey and Ben, and it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. The commentating class is coming to Richmond. I can't wait. I'll see you there. I'll be there.
Ben Tribbitt Show, sponsored by Chap Petersen. We'll be right back. Corey Lewandowski coming up.